Alright, welcome to the investigation into how the angle of a search coil affects the EMF induced in it. So you want an AC supply sending current down a slinky, and it might be worth having an ammeter in there, an AC ammeter that is, to see if the current changes. You want to make sure that the current stays pretty constant, and so you might want to have a variable resistor in there as well. And then you want your search coil. I would have your search coil going in either from top or coming in from the side. It doesn't really matter, whichever is easier for you to turn. The benefit of having it coming in from the top, there's your actual coil in there, is that you could, if you wanted to, then have a protractor underneath so you can see what angle you're actually at. The search coil is then going to be hooked up to a cathode ray oscilloscope, where you'll be able to see the trace of the AC EMF induced in it. So our dependent variable is going to be the max EMF induced in the search coil, because of course it's AC, so it's going to be changing. We're going to change the angle to see how that affects it, so that's our independent variable. So angle of search coil relative to direction of field. Ultimately, we want to prove that EMF is proportional to, well, not theta, but sine theta. So 0 degrees when the EMF equals 0. And you might know that the EMF is going to be 0 when the coil is parallel to the field lines. So there's no flux going through the area of the coil. Controls. We know that EMF is rate of change of flux or flux linkage. And so we do want B, or B max rather, to stay constant. So we achieve that with a constant current in the slinky. And when we say constant current, I mean constant max current. We want N to stay the same, number of turns in the slinky. In the same vein, we want the turns to be same distance apart at all times. In other words, we don't want the slinky to be moved at all. If the slinky compressed or expanded a bit, then yeah, it is going to change the flux density in the middle a bit. And finally, if we're talking about flux linkage, we've done B, N. We also want area of the coil to be constant. Now, when it comes to the CRO, we are going to have quite a fuzzy trace. And so what we're going to do is turn off the time base so we can read where the max EMF is. Sometimes we call it epsilon 0. We can do that to read it more accurately. So instead of actually seeing a trace on here, all we'll see is a line in the middle, and then we can just see where the top of that line is. In reality, when you do this for real, you'll see a very fuzzy trace. Now, if this is a question in an exam, I would just leave it like that. But if you do this in reality, what you'll find is you'll get the trace going up and down quite a bit, and you'll get a little fuzzy bits above, etc. So it's a good idea to check by turning on and off the time base to see where the top of your wave is. So you can say, oh, so the EMF comes to there, that's where the top of the peak is, turn off the time base. And so you can judge where the max EMF is more accurately. But because we have this fuzzy trace, there is going to be a fairly big uncertainty in that. It's not going to be the resolution either, because what you'll end up with isn't a nice clean trace like that. If you keep the time base on, you'll see a sort of fuzzy wave like that. And so you have to decide where the top of the peak is. Is it going to be the top? Is it going to be the bottom of the peak? Midway? That's up to you. Personally, I would go for the center of the peak and then have your uncertainty as half the width of that peak. But it's going to be different from person to person and setup to setup. So let's say, e.g., half width of peak. And this is one of the times when I would do repeats. Repeat 3 times with coil in different positions in the slinky. And then you want to find a mean of these. And depending on how variable your repeat readings are, you can have your uncertainty in the EMF being half the width of the peak because of the actual reading, or it could be in the mean. So we can say maybe uncertainty in this. It's up to you. But if this was a question in an exam, definitely mention that. So what we want to end up with ultimately, as per usual, is a straight line graph. Max EMF up the side. We can't do theta because we're going to end up with a curve, so we're going to have sine theta. And so we should have a lovely straight line. Now we know that EMF max is equal to ban omega. Now that goes for generators and it goes for AC as well. And so if we're changing the angle, then we know that it's going to be a proportion of that. It's going to be times sine theta. Therefore, taking sine theta over the other side, we end up with ban omega. This is our gradient. Just be aware that A and N are for the search coil, not for the slinky. We don't really care about how big the slinky is. We're just concerned with the flux density that it's creating. So we could then calculate B from our gradient. Naturally, you need your number of turns that should be written on the search coil. Omega, well, that's 2 pi f. The frequency is going to be the same frequency of the mains, which is 50 hertz because it's coming from our AC power supply. The area is a little bit tricky, but we can measure diameter of the coil. That's the little search coil, not the slinky, and that allows us to calculate area. Now, one of the problems is that usually your coil is a bunch of turns with varying diameter, and so you'll need to make a call as to where you measure your diameter, and maybe there's an uncertainty in that as well. A couple more things. We might want to have a piece of card coming off the bottom of the search coil. We could say use a marker that touches the protractor, and that obviously reduces parallax error. And there's a really important thing as well we need to make sure of. Ensure search coil is always in center of slinky. I don't mean the center lengthwise, I mean the center of the turns, because if we have our search coil up here, then it's going to be experiencing a different flux density to when it's in the middle. So we always want to make sure that's the case, so it experiences the same flux density at all times. In order to achieve that, it's a good idea to have it clamped to the top, and then you can turn the clamp or the clamp stand, ensuring that for starters, it's at the same height. And that's it. Hope you found this helpful. If you did, leave a like, click on the bell button if you want to be the first to see when I release a new video. And if you want to see me doing this in real life, click on the card and it'll take you to the video that I made for Malmesbury Science. And if you have any comments, questions or suggestions, please put them down below. Always appreciate you guys doing that. And I'll see you all next time.